let's start with the Rush Limbaugh clip. So, Rush Limbaugh, right-wing radio personality. This is actually, you guys know I don't talk to my dad, and haven't for a long time, specifically because he's been, like, completely brainwashed into this, like, right-wing nonsense. The main cause of that is probably Rush Limbaugh. He doesn't listen to music in the car, he listens to Rush Limbaugh, okay? Or country music if Rush Limbaugh isn't on. But literally, he sits in his office all day, and he listens to Rush. Not for long, though, because as it turns out, Rush has, I think, terminal lung cancer, which is a little ironic, considering for a long time he was saying, like, secondhand smoke doesn't cause cancer, and now he has cancer, so, you know, it is what it is. I'm wondering if, I'd imagine not at this point, because he's probably watching Fox. If not, I haven't talked to my dad in years, so it's possible he's fully gone down the, like, One America News rabbit hole at this point, and he's full on, like, Trump propaganda guy. No idea. Either way, he watches a lot of Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh's a really bad dude, who's going to be dead soon. Here we have from one of his most recent shows, a caller calls in talking about sort of the Maga March, and how he feels that Republicans aren't coming out to show support for Trump. Logarth with 20 bits. Rush has terminal lung cancer and has been on death watch with his doctors since October 18th. Yeah. It'll happen soon. And I will refrain from saying my feelings on him, because that's, you know, it is what it is. That's what I will say about Rush Limbaugh's cancer. It is what it is. I'll say this. I wish on Rush Limbaugh all the compassion that he has shown to others in his life. So let's see what this caller has to say.
Hi, Rush. It's great to be here. I'm going to try to hold myself together, not get emotional here, but I want to harken back to your statement about Georgia.
Yeah.
And about the Trump voter.
Yeah.
And they should be very afraid, very afraid. Trump and you are all we have left, Rush. We've spent our lives voting for these people because they're not them. And we just can't do it anymore. We're tired of being stabbed in the back, Rush. It's better to have an enemy that's in front of you than a friend that's behind you that's just going to stab you. They do it every time. We have a Republican-controlled state, and they won't do an audit of the vote. They won't. They just basically told every Georgian that they don't care. We were...
Side note, I would hope, and I don't think this is the case, but wouldn't it be lovely if this were the general sentiment amongst Trump voters, and they decided that because the Republicans haven't gotten behind Trump enough, even though they've way pushed it, like, it's ridiculous that they haven't come out and been like, hey, Biden won the election, stop it, Trump. Either way, they're staying relatively silent, which is a bad move in and of itself, but both the left, of course, views this as wrong because they should be promoting democracy and saying, hey, stop with claiming this is a fraud, there's no evidence of this, but they're not doing that. But they're also not entirely, like, getting behind Trump and being like, yeah, fraud, not yet at least, they may, who knows. But people on the right are seeing that as an attack, and they're like, they're not defending Daddy Trump like they should. Why won't they do it? Why won't they? I don't even know what they expect them to do exactly. Tucker White 94, 20 bits. This caller is so close to figuring it out. Yep. So it would be nice if they were somewhat disinclined to go and vote, let's say, in the Georgia runoff elections for the Republican candidate. That'd be nice. I don't think that'll happen, but stranger things have happened, I suppose.
In Washington on Saturday, me and my 33-year-old son, we saw more people than we've ever seen in our lifetime, ever. And we're season ticket holders for the Ravens, for God's sakes.
Despite what I do here on the show, I want you all to know, I really, and it's kind of fun to look at some people, like, get upset about Biden winning. It's cathartic for a number of reasons. But I want you to know, like, at my core, I don't I don't relish in the pain these people feel, because I understand that a lot of these people are facing very real problems that they don't even understand themselves. I imagine a lot of people who are Trump voters genuinely are in small communities that are suffering economically due to capitalist interests moving manufacturing jobs overseas for cheaper labor. Also the dismantling of unions, all that kind of stuff. Deregulation, all sorts of stuff that has actively hurt them. But they're so tuned out of that and tuned into stuff like Fox News or Rush Limbaugh that are telling them absolute lies about the source of their problems. So they continually, year over year over year, vote for people who are making their lives materially worse and not understanding why they aren't getting better. Because everyone from Rush Limbaugh to Bill O'Reilly, when he was still on the air, I think he does a YouTube thing now, I have no idea, have been telling them, oh, the Republicans will fix this, the Republicans will fix this, you know, and it's only gotten worse. It's only gotten worse. And you can see some of this on the left, too, when people on the left continually vote for sort of milquetoast centrist corporate Democrats, right? People get disillusioned because they go, hey, you said you were going to fix this problem, and you didn't. So I understand where these people are coming from. They're coming from a place of, like, severe insecurity. First of all, in regard to their identity, because a lot of these people are insecure in the first place about the changing demographics of the country. I don't understand why. I don't care about the makeup of the country. It was Patty Bell with 100 bits says, my ex is a perfect example of what you just said about Trump voters. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Like, for instance, I don't remember what it was, but when I was a kid, there was a magazine that was talking about, like, the future, right? And it had some sort of thing. I don't remember the context, but it was essentially asking, like, hey, the racial makeup of the future of the planet is probably not going to be, like, your race, almost regardless of what it is, you know? Like demographics change. And I think I realized in that moment, or I had to reflect on it as a kid and say, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. If human beings continue to exist, great. I don't give a shit what race people are that make up the population of the world. As long as there are people, great. I hope they're doing better in the future. But for some reason, people on the right seem to care very deeply about the fact that the demographics of America are changing. I don't know why. It doesn't matter. We're all Americans. It doesn't matter. And more than that, we're all human beings. But that, coupled with their economic stuff that hasn't been getting better over the decades, it's resulted in Trump, and it's really, really depressing. So basically, I think the only way to reach these people, and this is why I don't like people like Biden trying to reach across the aisle and, like, oh, we'll compromise with Republicans. No, because all you're doing is continually making the material conditions of these people's lives worse. You have to drag these people along into progressive policies, because you need to show them results. They're so indoctrinated by people like Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly and other Fox News people, Tucker Carlson, and now One America's News Network and people like that. The only thing, and even then, I don't know if it'll be the case, but let's say you pass a public option or Medicare for all, you know? Great. And those people finally get a taste of what actual left-leaning policy can do for their lives, putting their own tax dollars instead of work towards, you know, bombing the Middle East, but actually helping them. Maybe it would start to crack through that shell of indoctrination where they can be like, oh, these policies actually do help me. Oh, I don't know. I really don't. That's why I don't like people like Joe Biden. Like, all you're doing by compromising with Republicans is proving people in podunk towns right by doing nothing to help improve their lives. And that's bad for liberals and for leftists. And for everyone, for that matter.
I've been in crowds of 80,000.
Tucker White 94, I look forward to the day in the future we all look like Wookiees. More hair. Weird, I thought we would go less hair, but okay.
People. I've been to Steelers games, for goodness sake.
There's nothing funny about
Mitchell Drummer with 30 bits. Nice.
I have never seen so many people, but were there any Republicans there? No. None. But
Wait. What?
That's right, capitalistic
There were no
propaganda.
What was this thing that you went to?
Hellacious Motor, thank you for
Saturday in
following.
Washington, D.C.,
Yeah, but-
the mega rally. There must have been hundreds of thousands.
Okay, it's a MAGA rally, and there were. You mean no elected Republicans? Is that what you mean?
Yes, I do.
C Beltway
Our party
007, thanks for
leadership,
following.
Quote unquote. If this were a Democrat rally, they would all be there. They were there for the anti-Tea Party movement, walking hand in hand
Yep.
up the steps.
Yep.
No one stands for us, Rush. Only you and Donald Trump.
They literally
There's nothing
believe,
funny
and this
about
is
the tools
scary.
of
It's
capitalism.
I have never in my life, and will never in my life, attach my identity and my hopes for the future on one individual or two individuals the way that people on the right have to Donald Trump. Not everyone on the right, but a good portion, as we've seen, especially the last few weeks, if they've started to try and cope with the results of the election. Chesabel, thank you for gifting 2 tier 1 subs. Stephen J. Neptune Man says, I hated it when Obama tried to compromise, and I hate that Biden is trying to compromise. The GOP is clearly not interested. Why keep trying to shake hands with people who keep spitting in your face? Yeah, it's stupid. It's incredibly stupid. Windchanter with 40 bits just saw my best friend and his kids after months of quarantine. Oh, okay. I hope y'all were safe. Phosphophyllite with 69 bits. Thank Cobb. Rush
There's nothing
Limbaugh
funny
is
about the
dying
tools
of cancer,
capitalism.
says Phosphophyllite. Where was I? What was I saying? Oh, I don't understand the idea of putting all your hopes in, like, individuals, whether
There's
it's someone like
nothing
Rush
funny about the
Limbaugh or
tools of capitalism.
Tucker Carlson or Donald Trump. No individual person, and I think this comes from the way that we teach history, maybe, is that whole, like, great man theory of history where you have
There's nothing funny about the
the
tools of
idea that, like,
capitalism.
history revolves around exceptional individuals. Alexander the Great, George Washington, you know? We think about history a lot of the time in individual
There's nothing
figures
funny about the tools
who
of
were in
capitalism.
certain places at certain times and did certain things, when really a lot of those people were taking part in or reacting to large social movements or just, like, huge movements
nothing
in
funny about
general.
the tools of capitalism.
Wars don't happen just because one guy wants to do them. He needs to get the support of the people, and the support of the people comes through, you know, general opinions shifting towards certain ideas, right? So people on the right end up thinking, because they're very individualistic and they view history through this lens of, like, great individuals, they keep looking for that, like, great individual to come and usher in some right-wing utopia, you know, a Ronald Reagan or, like, a Donald Trump. And it just doesn't happen, because that's not really how history works. Like, yeah, there are notable figures in history, like George Washington, but George Washington didn't win the Battle of Yorktown himself, right? It was tons of people all working towards a goal together, right? It's frustrating. It's frustrating watching people make the same mistakes over and over and over again and never learning a lesson. And I'm not even that old, guys. I'm like 26. So I can't even imagine how frustrating this must get when you get to be like 60, 70, 80 years old.
God forbid, what do we have left? I love my president. I am not a revolutionary, Rush, but I will die for my president.
74 Quinn 74 says this guy doesn't even believe in, like, Tucker Carlson or Alex Jones or whoever, but he's super Trumpy. I mean, Rush Limbaugh's enough. Rush Limbaugh supports, you know, Donald Trump. C Beltway 007, thank you for subscribing. I'm not sure if
That's
I
right,
missed
capitalistic
that, but
propaganda.
just in case. And then thank you, DJ Shea, thank you for following.
This man has given more to this country than anybody, and he has no need.
That's absolutely untrue. That's so untrue. In fact, I would say the opposite's true. This country has given so much to Donald Trump, and he's given nothing back. Donald Trump was born with a golden spoon in his mouth, right? He was gifted millions and millions of dollars in the 1970s from his father, and on top of that, a ton of New York City real estate, which was about to skyrocket in price because of course, you know, after the 70s, there were all sorts of reforms in New York City that cleaned the place up and property value skyrocketed. The guy could not have been given more from this country without earning it. And then he ends up running for president after years and years of living off, you know, the wealth that his family had accrued. And then he ended up on a shitty reality TV show. He sells his name to hotels just because the Trump name is known. And then finally, millions and millions of dollars in debt, tons of failed businesses, and the guy runs for president and wins. And then during his 4 years, he golfs, gives huge tax breaks to the wealthy, and tries to undo Obamacare. Like, the guy's done nothing but take and take and take his entire life. And I don't even know how much I can fault Donald Trump as a person. Because Donald Trump reminds me a little bit of, have you seen Jessica Jones? You know the Purple Man? He's a vicious child of a person because no one can say no to him. Literally. We oftentimes mature due to limitations being placed on us, right? We learn to compromise because that's how the world works, because we have to, because there are people at more or less equal levels of, like, power socially and economically. We have to compromise with other people. So through that compromise and learning to work with others, we mature and grow and just learn to be better people. Donald Trump's never had to do that. Donald Trump has always been wealthy or the son of a wealthy man with tons of power. He's literally never had to grow a single day in his life. So I don't know if I can blame him for being such an evil POS when really it's the conditions in which he was raised. It's the society in which he grew up, right? Society rewarded him and his father for owning property, and that's it. They own property and they make money off of it. What else is he supposed to learn, you know? I don't know. It's frustrating. Was there a tanky?
Need to. None. He's a billionaire. He doesn't need this.
That's exact.
Alabale Soul. Probably mispronouncing that with 145 bits. Take the rest of my bits. Love your stream. Thank you.
Right.
It's disheartening.
Thank you, mods, for getting the tanky. I appreciate it.
The New York Times is almost...
Yeah. Rush Limbaugh's an interesting figure. I think the country will probably be better off now that his show is coming to an end, but I'm sure there are other right-wing radio people who will take his place, or already have.
Hi, Rush.
I don't listen to AM radio because it's not 1974, but a lot of people do, so. Anyway, moving on. What's AM radio? AM radio is like a podcast that they stream to your radio, okay? But you can't scrub through it or go back. It's just live. It's like a Twitch stream, but it's audio only.